Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the podcast of Action Require Media. Here we are dedicated to discussing hard truths and finding remedies for our problems. On this platform, we will stay engaged on all happenings in Mama Liberia, not limited to politics, religion, development, economy, security, crimes, war on illegal drugs, employment, youth, growth, and food production. Today's discussion will focus on the rule of law, security, and police brutality in Liberia. Here to discuss with me is Dr. Archibald B. Waller. How you doing, Pastor Waller?
I'm doing great, bro, Joe. Thank you. How are you?
I can't complain. I'm doing wonderful.
Happy Sunday to you.
Yeah, happy Sunday too.
Yeah,
All right.
but it's great to be on again.
Yeah, it is. It is a wonderful time to be back on this platform to discuss Mama Liberia. Um, So again, once again, ladies and gentlemen, please like and share this show here on Action Require Media. We educate, entertain, and empower. So at this time, I will just get Dr. Wardle maybe a minute or two to introduce himself, and then we can go through our discussions. Dr. Wardle.
All right, bro, Joe. Thanks again. And good evening, everybody. Again, this is Pastor Wallo. It's always a pleasure to be on this platform, the Action Require Media platform, to discuss our country and to contribute our own ideas on how we can move our country forward. And for today's discussion, I'm looking forward to that because I think, Berger, that's what we need in our country. We need to prioritize the rule of law in our country so that we will have a peaceful and stable country. So I'm looking forward to the conversation. Again, it's good to be here.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Water. Appreciate that. Um, so for discussion, I do have some videos that we're going to watch today, and then we're going to discuss them in great length and see and let's try to dissect what's happening in Mama Liberia, because it's terrifying watching these videos. But before that, Pastor Water, before I go to the video, I mean, I would want to give you a tax though. Is it possible? Can you pull up, and see, tell us what the definition of a rule of law is, so at least the listeners can understand what the meaning of the rule of law is, so that we can be able to discuss the video in maybe great length. Can you try for us? Um, Before that, I let's see.
Yes, I can. I can quickly pull that
Okay.
from Google.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please. That'll be fine. I'm sorry. I meant to say that earlier, but
Yeah, that's fine. Um, so the rule of law will mean different things to different people.
yes.
Um, but for our conversation, um, we're going to go with this definition. Um, let me get my computer working right.
All right. So why you getting your computer together and this that? Let's just discuss. There was a little. There's a video about the president, um, Jose Yimambuaka. There's a little speech was given, and I just want us to watch this, and then we can comment on it. Um, so let's see
And
right
they
here.
speak in that kind of way, some of them don't even know what they're talking about. but that's the human beings. That's who we are, especially the country that we're in. Reckless talking, disrespect. People are not trained and they speak any kind of way. Some of them don't even know what they're talking about. But that's the human
So,
beings. That's who we are.
so Dr. Water, did you hear that? That's a most recent comment from the president of Liberia, His Excellency Jose Yimambwaka. He was referring to his citizen as reckless and not trained. What are some of your comments on that?
Yeah, thank you, Brajo. Before I go to the president's comment, let me just read this out because he asked about the definition of the rule of law.
Oh
So
yeah,
let me
sure,
just put it
sure.
out. It says the rule of law is a set of principles or ideals
Mm-hmm.
for ensuring an orderly and just society.
Okay.
And I can agree with that definition because again, as I indicated previously, that the rule of law is important because it helps us to maintain stability in a country. It helps us to be able to define what is acceptable and what is not. So I cannot agree with that definition. We're going to talk more about the rule of law today, but I just wanted to comment on the definition.
Okay.
Again, it says the rule of law is a set of principles or ideals for ensuring an orderly and just society. To come back to the president's comment, Brojo.
Yeah, I think Edwin on again. I just want to recognize that Edwin is on. Okay, Edwin, do you want to say something before we move forward, or you just want to be listening until we get to you?
Oh yes, I just want to apologize. I had to step away a little bit because I'm usually happen this time. I choose this time because it's a downturn in the restaurant, but we've been having like irregularity with customers, like new people out there. So I had to step
Okay.
away, but I was listening. So,
Okay.
but you guys can go ahead. I've been listening on mute.
Okay. Dr. Water, sorry, I know you are explaining something, but then
Yeah, that's okay. How you doing, Edwin?
I'm good, Mr. Well. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. Good to see you. By the way, yeah. So I was saying that the president's comment. So when I listen to two things come to mind. Number one, I think the president being a very traditional person. Okay, I think he spoke from a place of frustration, and you can see that our country, most especially our young people these days, have gone far away from our traditional norms. What do I mean by that? When we were growing up in Liberia, we were taught not to insult older people, right? That has changed a lot. And so when the president said that the country, there are people in the country that are not trained, they are disrespectful. I think that is where he's coming from. I think it's it coming from a place of frustration that we are not observing our traditional norms anymore. People can just say anything to anybody. Okay, but I always say that the 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 office of the presidency, right? Every Liberian need to respect the office. It does not matter who occupies the office, right? You respect the office. Okay, that is the president of the country. We can disagree with him. Okay, we can disagree with the president. Okay, we can disagree with his policies. But for someone to continue to insult, the president in a way that people have been doing in most recent times, it just go against our traditional norms, and I think that's what the president was talking about. So he
um
was speaking out of frustration, right? And then the second part to it, though, the second part to it is that I think a lot of people think that when they talk on Facebook, regardless of how they talk or what they talk about, there are no consequences, right? Because we live in a democracy that is freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want to say with liberty and without expecting any repercussion. But if we want to be a mature democracy and a mature society, we should be able to be very responsive to our words, because what you say defines you and how you say it. Now, when people insult their leaders, they say all kinds of insulting words on Facebook. They are able to get rating. A lot of people watch their show because that's what people want to see, and that's what people want to hear, the drama about it, right? But what I want people to understand is that it defines who you are. Your words, the words that you put out there, and most especially how you speak to your elders, how you speak to your leaders, right? Let's disagree with them. Let's disagree on their on policy matters, and let's talk about the issues as we see it fit. But for us to get on Facebook, you know, eh, social media that is widely watched by so many people, and to insult our leaders, I think it present our country in the wrong way, and I will not advise anyone do that.
Well, I concur with you on so many parts of what you just said, but equally so too, the president hold some a level of responsibility here too as well. Everybody expresses themselves differently, out of frustration, out of hate, out of political parties, division, and other stuff. I'm not saying what they are doing is right, but equally so too, if we want to conform to the democratic form of government, these things are all involved in it. Nobody's. I'm not happy that they are out there insulting the president. That's the highest office of a nation. I don't think anybody should do that. And equally so too, he's an elderly person, like you said. But if you're referring to somebody as not being trained, then which means you are referring to the parents too, which means the parents didn't do any job raising them. You know what I'm saying? So that insult goes to the parents too as well, not just the individual who is using those negative words, I would say, towards the president. But then you're referring to the family too as well. Now, I honestly think he could have taken a different approach on it. He should understand the frustration Liberians are going through, especially the young people, the economy, the poverty rate, the country's state of mind, the security is bad. I think he would have been a little bit softer approaching people on this issue, but for that particular comment, like they're not trained, which means I just think it's putting it on the entire family, mother, fathers, and community as well. But I'm not going to say it and condone it and say it's okay for anybody, any Liberian, to insult the highest office. I disagree with that. If you know how to handle issues, handle it the right way rather than be insultive. Um, Edwin, I know you didn't watch the video, but do you want us to play the video for you? It's kind of a little short, um, and then you can comment on it.
No,
Yeah.
again, I was listening in the background, and
Okay.
Mr. Water did a great job about elaborating on the rule of laws and things like that. Um, I personally think, like, I always been one of the advocate, like, as we talk in the background, I'm one of those people that thought that perfect key internet should be turned off. Not everybody should have access to internet in Liberia. It doesn't represent the country well.
Sure.
You can't just get on the internet and talk anyhow. But my problem is, for the president to speak like that, I think he's weak. The reason I say that he's weak, you don't have any established law and order code in the country. If the person goes on the internet and insult you, what law are they violating? What code? What city code? What county code? So if you don't establish anything in writing, everybody it's a freeway. Anybody can say anything they want to say. So your president, the chief law abiding person, make lawmaker in the country, is coming from the bullet pulpit and telling people that your mind you're not trained or whatever. That's weak to me.
Yep.
Because a father that is actually in charge would not say something like that. he will already have things in place that's not even going to have that person to be able to say what they're saying because they know in the back of their mind what code, what rule or law they're breaking. Nobody's saying that army people should go to pool every time they express free speech. But if there was a law in the book that this person knew they were going to break, then maybe they will be a little bit hesitant before they say certain thing or rephrase themselves. They can be angry. We want freedom of speech, but you can express this. It can be like a deliberate insult at the president or disrespect the person in office. So there's no law and order established. So in this case, I'm just speaking from a lawyer standpoint. This person did not break any law, and the person that is responsible for running a house is telling people they're not trained. You're out of your mind. So I don't anything that he said. I think he's weak. I think he's weak. That's how I look at it.
And
Let
one
me
thing
let,
too,
let me let me
he's
say
not
let me
on
say
this guy.
something
He
for you,
been in
bro, Joe.
government for 50 years plus. Now he saw
Yeah,
that
but
Joe, we are government. What happened? He was with Ellie. He knew how people react when they are angry, when they can't get things done the way they're supposed to be. So then you expect. Anyway, I agree. He needed he could have taken a different approach rather than telling somebody they're
okay.
not trained. You know.
So let me say
Put
this.
put your Congress together and come up with a law. This is the law of the land. You are allowed to criticize the president anyhow. But this is if you do this, you're gonna get fined this. Your internet's
Yeah.
gonna get put something together that people look at. That's coming from strength. But if you go in and speaking like you and I, you're speaking from a position of weakness. I'm just saying, go ahead, Mr. Wallow.
Yeah, okay. So no, number one, the video is very short. Okay, we don't know.
The
Okay,
con-
we cannot keep the president's words or his statement in context because number one, we did not know what he was responding to. Whether someone asking a question, we don't know what actually he was responding to. But we are only talking about his brief statement. Okay. Now, knowing the kind of person the president is, a very traditional individual who believes in traditional norms, while who were raised and grew up and lived in Liberia for his entire life. It is not a traditional norm for young people to just insult their older people. Okay, it is not in our tradition.
Mr. Wallow, just let
What-
me go.
what-
Let me read some. Let me read some real quick. Let me read some. You're pastor, right? We're in the end times. Disrespect all over the world right now. So you want to be traditional, non-traditional. You either make laws or you don't. Disrespect is everywhere. Anybody can say anything against Trump right now on the internet. Anybody can say anything against any president. In Nigeria, they
but that's a form
Timur
of
is
government we
insulting him every
decide to
day.
follow, right? We are not.
right?
We don't
Yeah.
have
So
anything
But,
wait,
but,
against.
but hold on.
where is your tradition?
That's
Yeah.
a form of
Okay.
government,
So,
freedom of
so,
speech,
so yeah, exactly, right,
and
Joe.
that's what we want.
Freedom of speech, freedom of speech. Freedom comes with responsibility
Yeah,
and
but
accountability.
insulting is not a
What,
crime.
but one second though, one second. Okay, freedom doesn't mean that people should be out of order. It means that people should be responsive and accountable to what they say. Okay, I in fact, you cannot legislate what people say. You cannot legislate that. Okay, we are in a democracy. Democracy calls for freedom of expression, freedom of speech, right? What I'm saying though is that number one, we don't know what the person were responding to, but just from the little clip that I saw, I think he went back to his traditional, our traditional norms. I am not saying I am not saying that he can stop people from saying what they want to say, but at the same time, he's a father figure. He's the president of the country. Okay, he has the right to respond to how Liberians are responding, right? Let me ask you guys this question. Let me ask you guys this question. Why is it that Edwin, you mentioned Prophet Key. Why is it that if people like Prophet Key that insult a lot on their shows get a lot of viewers to watch their show? Why you think that is? compared to a civilized, more, productive show like ours. Why you think it's like that? Why you think young people gravitate towards people that provoke, who insult women cause, stuff like that? Why
But
you think that is?
Mr. Waller, you cannot impose civility on anybody. You cannot impose, you can't tell people how to act. If Joseph Barker was making that comment, not as a president, if he's in a family gathering and somebody in the crowd said that and he tried to restrain that little kid and go back to the tradition, I'm all for it. If you're in politics, I'm not against Joseph Barker's speech, the speech that he made. I'm not in favor. I always go for traditional rules. I'm speaking from a legal standpoint. Make laws that people will identify so they know what they're breaking when they're speaking. As a president, as a commander in chief, you sound weak sounding like that. I'm going around. I'm not looking for. I'm not looking for. I'm going around a bigger context. There might be more context into that thing. But again, if it wasn't a president, if you're just somewhere, you're an ex-president, if you're in a gallery and somebody said that he can restrain a little kid and say, "Why the kid so rude and stuff?" You are the commander in chief. What you're gonna say is we allow freedom of speech in this country, but I think there have to be laws so people can follow, so people know exactly when they're on the internet what they can say and cannot say. You cannot say that or whatever. You cannot say anything. You have limit to a person that's free speech in Nigeria. But you have limit. There's free speech in Ghana. You have limit. First of all, it's not even going to get to the president office. The police and the people will show up to your internet and shut it down. So that's what power lies, and you have the ultimate power in the country, and you're speaking from a weak point.
When that happens, that would not be freedom of expression. You actually be violating people's right.
The
Right?
so-called country that we're in right now, that is number one freedom. They're doing it right now. FBI shutting posting on your internet going up there because it's not on the news. It's
Not
just go on
because
the
not
internet,
because you
go on Twitter and say
not because
anyhow.
you disagree with Trump.
They got certain words. They got certain keywords that you
No,
mentioned. Your internet will
not
go up.
because no, not because you disagree with Trump. If you threaten the president, then yes, the FBI might do something like that. Not because you disagree with the president.
Oh yeah.
No one internet is shut down in America because you disagree with the president. Not because you even
Hey,
insult a president.
If
No
you
one
make threats,
internet
they're
is
gonna
shut down
fire
for
you.
that. But the fact here is this. The fact here is this. President Barker is speaking to a group of cabinet ministers, and he is responding to a statement. We don't know what that statement is. The president is not making a speech to the country. Okay, unfortunately, it was recorded, and then we hear it, right? So we don't know the context. But just
so your
listening
own
to it,
cabinet member is
But that don't wanna
disrespecting and they happen to be young.
that I want to let exclude the context, right? But the matter of which he said as that particular statement that they are not trained, okay? That they are not
our young
trained.
people are not trained these days, bro, Joe. Yes,
Pastor,
Labradors are not
what,
trained anymore.
but what I'm saying here is
If
if
you
you use that
insult a
word to
president,
your people,
if you insult your elder, you are not trained.
yeah, but what
That's
I'm
not
saying,
how that's
Pastor
not
Water,
how
Pastor
we
Water,
Liberians were trained to
Pastor Water.
respond to our elders. You're not
Yes,
trained.
I
If
agree.
you can insult an elder person, you're not trained. That's
Water,
that that's what
Pastor
that's
Water,
what we were told.
it could be a
That's
point
how
of
we were raised.
frustration. It coming from a point of frustration. Not everybody will insult somebody. They don't know how to do to deal with emotions. So sometimes people just burst out. Look, he's in a democratic form of government. That's what Liberia is. He been in government for 50 years plus. He should understand that. That's just a little piece of thing that's getting him angry. I'm not saying he shouldn't be, but once you want to be, a public leader, then you should expect this. Not everybody gonna love you. Not everybody gonna say good things about you. You know, like you said, Pastor. We look. We are traditional
Wait, wait,
people.
wait,
We should love each
wait.
other. We should love the respect our older people. Respect the orders. But if you hear comment like this, it's better for you to call and figure out, okay, what's going on here? Why the youth are so mad? Why they so angry? What's going on? And then figure out something. And then find a solution. That's all we asking about. Find a solution. You know?
Yeah, but
But if
Roger, go ahead,
they
man.
on they on train thing that we keep going on. I understand like you want to go back to your root and stuff. I'm gonna 100% disagree with it. The kids out, the youth are on train. If like people they lose it all the time over here, but
Yes.
because that literacy rate is so high and they choose a different choice or war, doesn't mean that because the Liberian president is not too much educated to choose different jargons to speak and say what they want to say in a way that will satisfy your ears, so it comes up so raw and vulgar. Then you say they are untrained. Then you're gonna apply
Politically
that
correct.
untrained. Yeah, yeah, you want to apply that on Trinidad all across the board, all over the world right now. All the youth, they don't have patience. They talk to the government anyhow. This is not a Liberian problem.
And sometimes it's just
But if you have somebody,
Brajo,
information of things they need
this
and
this
want.
is
Brajo,
Look, yes.
before we go to the rule of law thing, can you replay this video? Let Edwin listen
Oh
to
yeah,
it.
sure. I'll replay it. Give me 1 second. Uh, you guys will be talking. Just give me 1 second. Let me connect the video back.
The reason I want you to replay the video is, you know, for you to understand, where the president, is coming from. We may not. We okay. Go ahead, Roger.
Reckless talking, disrespect. People are not trained and they speak any kind of way. Some of them don't even know what they're talking about. But that's the human beings who we are, especially the country that we're in. Reckless talking, disrespect.
So you hear that?
my position is still the same. Like, it's not, it
My
never
position stay
changed.
the same too. That the water you I think you mute yourself.
That's
That the
like,
water.
it's like
That
my
the water you
position
mute
remains the
yourself.
same. Like again, like I said, I was listening.
That the water can you unmute yourself?
Okay.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
Okay. Do people talk recklessly? Yes. Do people talk about things they don't even understand in Liberia there? Yes. Do people talk like they are untrained? Yes. Everything the president talk about, they are all facts. Okay,
But
we have people in the country that and Edwin, I'm not even talking about a typical Liberian youth. I'm talking about even people that are on the media, on social media, and even in on radio. They say things that number one, they don't understand. Two, they say things in a very reckless way, and that's why the young people are following after. Okay, look, we as a country, we have a culture, we have traditions. Okay, we have to respect those things because that's how we were raised. We are not Americans, we are not Europeans, we are Africans. And being African, we have norms and we have cultures. Okay, when we go far away from those things, that's what it result into why people speak the way they speak. You spoke about Prophet Key.
but
Do you know how many people turn to Prophet Key's show?
but Pastor Waller,
Because that's what the young people
Pastor
have
Waller,
been cultured to.
that the water.
Okay, we don't get our young people this, they don't get their training from whom they get it on social media.
Unfortunately, Pastor
That's
Water, our culture is losing. We're losing. That
right.
culture, that
That's what I'm
particular culture you're
saying.
talking about, we're
Let me let,
losing.
let me come to something right that the
We're
water
not winning. We're
Edwin.
losing. That
See,
particular culture you're talking about, we're losing.
let
So
me
I
come to
want to be
something
on the
right.
winning
When
side.
we have
We
when
haven't gained anything by having that culture.
yeah when we have our chieftaincy, right?
The
And we
culture
have
that we need to
chieftaincy.
establish is, yeah. So let me tell you, the culture that needed to be established since that country was formed. We talk a lot about Liberia, but America, but we don't replicate what the Americans are doing. America, they practice from the British Commonwealth system. Even Dubai, in the 90s, Dubai was dust. They put have all the visionary, but they couldn't establish Dubai like the way it is today if they didn't adopt some type of law abiding thing. And the Commonwealth system goes from the bottom all the way up. Again, what kind of law anybody is violating? Because if you don't have laws that people are held by, that are going to be punishable, then even the vulgarity and stuff is going to come out of people's mouth anyhow. When people
But
are only threatened by action. When you see a cop on the freeway, that cop is not controlling, it's the judge behind him. Like you don't get afraid of. You're not afraid of the cop.
yeah, but
So
the simple
nobody
point
get
I'm trying
afraid
to
of
make here,
anything.
right?
So I
Gentlemen,
can't go back. People can say anything they want to say because there hasn't been any established law. Nobody breaking anything. So the government is at fault or Joseph Biden is at fault because they didn't establish anything. Because if you're threatened by something in your head, then you'll be a little bit hesitant. I can talk to you anyhow, Mr. Water.
Yeah.
I know
So,
you're a respectful
but
person, but I can see you talking to me anyhow because I'm thinking about is somebody going to do something to give me a citation? Is going to lead to me losing my job and stuff like that? So you don't have anything like that established. So at times, go by, it's gonna get worse. You don't expect it to be better. It's always to be like this. People's gonna be ruling Liberia right now. That's what the
but
tradition thing. People's gonna be on train.
but let me the point I'm trying to make here, right? If we left our chieftaincy way of doing things, right? I can tell you this: there's nobody doing that disrespectful thing to a king or a chief in those villages. It's not happening. Cause you know why? They follow rules and regulations in those villages. If the king says tonight nobody out by 6 o'clock, nobody's there. Nobody will see the king or the queen or the princess coming and don't bow or just walk in front of them because they know what's going to happen next. My thing here is if we want to practice democratic form of government, we should be able to take in everything that comes along with it. We have seen it around the world. How do people do
Wrong,
stuff? No,
wrong,
what do you mean no?
wrong.
What's
No,
not in there?
no. Yeah, okay,
Why?
okay. So what we should aspire to be is the best of ourselves. Okay, the best of ourselves. We as a country, we are a democratic country. There are democratic tendencies that can help propel our country forward. Okay, not everything about democracy is would be in the interest of Liberians. Like for example, the very thing we are talking about, freedom of speech. Freedom of speech does not mean that you should denigrate your culture. We have to
Sure.
be cultured people. Okay, freedom of speech does not mean that you have to go against your traditions. Freedom of speech doesn't mean that. Democracy doesn't mean that. Okay, we as Liberians and most especially as Africans, we have a unique culture. While it is true that we want to practice democracy, but it doesn't mean that we have to go away from our traditional norms or our cultural orientation. We have to know who we are because that's what makes us to be who we are. We are not Europeans. We are not Americans. Okay, we protest democracy in our country, but it does not mean that we should go against our own culture. If we cannot embrace our culture, then we are denying the very essence of who we are. All I am saying is that you can disagree with the president. It doesn't mean you have to insult or you have to abuse it. Not even just the president. Okay, you disagree with your dad in a house doesn't mean that you should cause him.
Mr.
You see that?
Water, what Mr. Water, they were
Nobody's saying
saying
that.
how the first of all,
Then
how
what you
did we
guys
get here?
then what you guys saying?
No. First of all, how did we get to a place where a young person is unafraid to just speak to anybody, moreover, like the president of the entire country? How did we get here? First of all, you're not checking all these factors. You have literacy rate of 46%. Then you expect people to speak well when they talk to you? Are you kidding me?
All right,
You expect people
gentlemen,
to speak well when they talk to you? When the
And
gentlemen,
it's
literacy
somebody
rate is so
you
high
think
like
they're
this?
gonna go to school
gentlemen,
for them
I
to
think
know
I
for
think
them to know how to respect people.
gentlemen, I think we all agree.
Unfortunately, human beings only know two things: law and order. You either find them or you punish them. We got stop sign, or we don't stop to the
Gentlemen,
stop sign all the time.
gentlemen, I
So
think I
you
think
got to find them.
I think we
There's
all agree
nothing.
here.
They're not held by anything.
I think we all agree that we have traditions that we follow, and we are cultural people, and knowing the fact that the way we grew up, we always respect our older people. Even they don't have to be your mom and dad, your uncle, we still respect them. And I think that's what Dr. Water is referring to. It's important to you yourself to refer to that as well. But again, it's the highest office of the land. I don't think that presidency, the office of the presidency, need to be insulted. I would just appeal to the better nature of Liberians, especially the youth. And I think the government too, the president should be able to understand why these kids young people are so angry when they speak out loud to the government. I think we should be able to set up some kind of a committee to understand why this is happening. And I think some of them know why it's happening is out of
And
frustration,
that would
out of
that
probably
would be
basically.
fair for us to discuss why people are angry, why people should be angry. It would be fair for us to discuss that. Okay,
Yes,
but what I'm
I agree.
saying,
We agree.
what I'm saying is we have to be a civil society. We
I
have to
agree. But
coexist.
but but
We
the
can
water, the
disagree.
water.
We
Every
can
every
practice democracy
every
and
just said the same
still
thing to you.
honor
If we
our
look at our
culture and our
if
traditions.
we look at our electricity rate, a lot of people don't know how to express themselves. They don't know. And again, our electricity rate is high. So if you're telling, let's say for example, you somebody mentioned perfect key. Okay, I'm not here to put perfect key on a high pedal. Okay, but my thing is, most people gravitate to negativity than positive stuff. You will see a lot of young people run into negativity because they love
And
the action.
why you think it's like
I,
that?
I don't know. Maybe their mind
Because
is
of
wired.
statements that are being made on social media. People learn from social media. They don't learn
Yes,
from their
yes,
family, their parents.
yeah.
Okay,
But
that is
again,
the society we have today. So they
again,
gravitate
gentlemen.
towards what is negative because that's what trends on social
Okay.
media.
And again, gentlemen,
Okay,
I think we
it
spend.
doesn't make it any better. It doesn't make it any good. It's just unfortunate, and
Yeah,
that's my point.
I agree. Again, gentlemen, I think we're spending no time on this. Let me put the next video so we guys can comment on this. Okay. So
I will
watch
listen
out
to
for
it, but
this
I'm
video.
stepping away real quick. I'll be back.
That's
I'll
fine.
be right back. I'll
That's
listen
fine.
to it.
You see that, Dr. Water? You see what happening? You see
Roger,
what happened in the country?
Roger, if someone like 10 years or let's say 15 years ago, if someone was going to tell me that we will have these kind of problems in our country, I was going to doubt it. Okay. But as I was watching the video, one of the thoughts that came to my mind is that are we is the country retrogressing on the rule of law on the Bwaka administration, or it's getting better, you know? And what's your thought? Are we retrogressing on the rule of law on this
Yes,
president
yes, we are.
on
Even
the previous
eh,
administration?
I would say under the two past government, yes, we are not becoming a country of law anymore. We are becoming lawless. We are becoming a banana republic. We are becoming something that we have never thought that Liberia would become. And there are many reasons why these things are happening, and people are saying it.
So
And
yeah,
go ahead, Sam.
again, it's the same thing I just told you. This man is weak. He doesn't seem like somebody that power, like somebody you can listen to. He appears weak. So the little bit of law that Ellen had over there, a little bit of order, is lax right now. It's too lax because people think that nothing gonna happen to them. He's too weak. So that's what's going on. They never had
Okay.
too much of a law and order, but because of him, they're looking at a symbol. It's a symbol of weakness. So nobody's following anything. What gonna do to you? Nothing.
Yeah.
But
Bro Joe,
yes,
before you come in,
go ahead.
look, it's very very unfortunate, very unfortunate that that should never happen. Okay, That is unacceptable. Look, Roger, when we were growing up, right, we were told if a policeman wore the Liberian flag on his arm, on his uniform, because of the flag, you respect him. Look, see. I don't know what happened because in a video you saw, the keke, was laid over. I don't know what happened because the police themselves, they kind of, they sometimes take the law into their own hands. But there should be no, that is unacceptable, bro Joe. You fight a police officer, you, in fact, not even fight, you beat a police officer like that. This is happening in Liberia, and honor the rescue government.
That the water. In fact,
This
this
this is shocking, man.
this is one of the things you were saying. You mentioned that that police officer looks like his dad or his grandfather. Look, let me tell you that the water, the youth in Liberia, there is something of a there's some kind of an anger in Liberians for the past 20 years. Some anger. I don't know where it's coming from, but Liberians are just angry. A little thing will flip them. Now, I don't know what transpired over there, okay? But there'll be no reason why that young man should lay hands on that police officer. Like you said, he's a representation of the nation, and you lay him flat on the floor and step in his chest. And then, you know what baffles me? There's a bystander saying, beat it, beat it, beat it. Come on
Yeah,
now. Pastor,
beat it, beat
what
it.
Liberians, man. This is so
Look,
disgraceful and heartbreaking.
bro. Yeah. So on a on a larger scale, I look, the rule of law in our country, it's it's a concern. It's a concern for me. Okay, it's a concern for me because listen, how can we have a society where people take the laws into their hands? Now, we are talking about a law enforcement officer being beaten by a civilian and other people around saying, beat it, with
Yep,
no
yep.
remorse, with no
Nope.
fear,
They don't care.
right? So this video, Roger, this video speak to the larger context of what our society has become. Look, regardless of everything that is going on in the country, the last time I said Liberians are traumatized. Liberians are on edge. You see the anger, the frustration, what you see even in the street, that's trauma. Okay, the
True.
entire country is traumatized. So everybody is on edge. And you can see the violence in the young people. People just want to destroy. By the time little thing happens, they want to,
They're
with
ready. Yeah.
no regard for
Yep.
for the rule of law.
Destroy properties
You know.
and
But
lives.
but 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 but, but and then also, bro Joe, before you come in, and also even the very people that we expect to obey the laws of the country,
They are not.
they themselves are violating the laws. So
Yep.
citizens don't have no respect for the law. Citizens don't have no regard for the laws of the country. People just do what they want to do. I mean, when you get in the street, you can feel the chaos.
Yes.
Okay,
Sure.
without the rule of law, that's why you see what you are seeing is not is a result of us not having the rule of law as a priority in the country.
But
That is
the water.
complete chaos and that is complete madness.
I
I've
don't mean.
never seen something like this,
I
man.
didn't mean to cut you off, but I will say this, right? This would have been solved, okay? And the reason why I say this, this went on Joshua government for 6 years. There was nothing put in place to battle this stuff. I don't know if you can remember, there was a boy that was stoned to death. I think 172nd Boulevard or something. accused of stealing motorbike, or well, they said here in France, stealing motorbike.
Yeah,
Seeing
more
Liberians,
violence.
yeah, seeing Liberians using bricks and stoning somebody's head, and everybody standing and watching. So what have we become these days? We just sit and watch and allow, you know, our fellow brother being stoned to death. Where is the law? If something going to be
And
put in place during Joria time and then follow with Joseph Boca time, I think by now would have been okay. But this
look,
is
bro,
getting
Joe,
on a wrong
bro,
trajectory.
yeah. Look, listen. Regardless of what was not put in place, Josh, we are time. It doesn't stop this administration from putting that in place. But yeah. Here is the bigger thing, right? This video here, this video that you show, this video speaks to a broader context of what is happening in the country. Okay, look, we don't respect laws. And then we want people to come into our country and invest in our country. We want people to come and spend their money in our economy. We don't respect laws. Liberians have become lawless. Okay? We don't respect laws. Even the very same police, the law enforcers, the law enforcement officers that we have in the country, they break the law all the time. So citizens don't even have regard for them. But what we saw in this video it speak a lot to where we are as a country. You know, we cannot
Well,
we cannot go 1 second, Edwin, we cannot have stability. We cannot have development in the country if we don't prioritize the rule of law. Okay, the rule of law will determine the quality of life in the country. People just do things randomly with disregard to the laws of the country, with no fear of what will happen to them. Look, it speaks a lot to where we are as a country. We got a lot of work to do.
All right, so you want to comment on that, and then we just close it with 1 minute comment, and our 1 minute comment would be a solution, okay? And then we will move to the next video, and then we can discuss that as well. Say, what are your take on this video?
okay, so unfortunately, let me bust you guys' bubble. This has been ongoing for the longest of time since I've been. I live in Central Morgan. I live in Singer. So I live in the bypass and all that stuff. This is we just have the camera now, so it's magnifying things. But this beating up police officer, service officer, teachers, it's been going on forever. That's what I'm saying that we don't have any rule or law established in the country. Nobody is following anything. There is no fine, nothing. There's nothing going on in somebody's head and say, when I touch this person, I'm touching the uniform. There's a judge to find and all that stuff. So we're not seeing it because we have cameras now, but it's been ongoing for a long time.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Edwin, you're right about that.
We just
You
had
know,
camera in our hands.
this
When somebody steals in car and almost got killed. They throwing over rocks. People taking laws into their
yeah.
hands.
This doesn't speak.
So
This doesn't
All
speak
right,
well on that.
we
It doesn't speak well to our country. It doesn't speak well to us as a people. It doesn't speak well of the government. You
so
know,
again,
it's
Pastor, what I think we got another video to play, but I just want us to the video right here. Just summarize it in 1 minute. What will be your solution? What is a better solution for this? 1 minute each, and then we'll go to the next video. We want to go first.
my 1 minute, bro, Joe. My
Okay.
1 minute would be, for us to live in a civil society, there has to be rules and laws that we have to follow, and those laws should be enforced on everybody. What we see currently in Liberia is 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 chaotic. It doesn't speak well for us as a country. So what I would advise this administration to do is prioritize law enforcement. It is the law that going to bring order. It is the law that going to protect, citizens' rights. It is the laws, the enforcement of the laws will protect the economy, will protect healthcare, will protect education, will protect, even foreigners that come to invest in your country. Without the rule of law, the country is not going anywhere. There will be chaos, and people will not have the confidence to invest in our country. If the laws are stronger, the economy will become strong. In fact, look, statistics have proven that countries that prioritize the rule of law, their citizens get better education. Their citizens get better health care. Their citizens, the country has a stronger economy because the rule of law determines all of that. It protects all of that. And to see what we are seeing currently in Liberia, it means that we are doing a shady job. Okay, let us prioritize the rule of law,
Okay.
law enforcement. It will bring order in the country.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Water. Edwin.
Well, Mr. Wallace said most of it, but right now as it stands, the government right now he might as well just be working with mercenaries. Because the way he underpays the police officer, underpays the army, these people they're waiting for to betray him anytime. They're ripe to betray him. But most importantly, beside the army and the Liberian National Police, what needs to be established, like what all Mr. Wallace said, because you got to have a common economic interest and rule of law enables that economic interest. It only don't have to be armed people. You need to establish provinces in every counties that are over 1,000 people. You need to have a police headquarters. You need to have a judge. You need to have a court for them to go to. You need to spell out things for them. When you do, this is what's going to happen to you, and what's not going to. After you do that, if things come to order, then maybe you can attract different businesses. The only reason, like Rimpo, we speak English just like here. Most businesses want to do business with Liberian. It's cheaper for them to do that, but there's no rule of law. There's no rule of law in the country. So besides the armies and the national police, they need to treat a lot of people in different districts. They need to have judges. They have one judge, a courthouse, police headquarters in every area to regulate things. But again, that will come with prioritizing the national police and the armies. But that's Brock. I don't want to do that right now. But that's the solution right now. They need to train judges and they need to have a courthouse and a police headquarters in every area and spell out things so people what call town hall meetings, tell people this is the laws of the land where you live, and then things can escalate if the kids get bigger all the way to the Capitol building. But it needs to be. It hasn't been done in our country. That's why everything's been upside down. We haven't
Mm.
established rule of law.
Yeah. Thank
Or
you,
at least
Edwin.
it has not been our priority.
Thank you, guys. I think uh, everybody, you guys have said the right things that need to be done. We do have rules and rule of laws in our country, but we are not implementing it. But this is what I would say: for immediate effect, I think the police should have a joint responsibility with the military. I think the military should take a lead. I think the military should be deployed into the cities um, on a maybe 2 3 months until we get the that just was but immediate solution. And then I think most people are afraid of military men in a uniform. So I think deploy the guys, work alongside with the police, and then like everyone saying, each counties or maybe district or maybe settlement or community, you have a police station, you have a lawyer, you have a lawyer representation within that police station. So in case anything happen like that, that case is referred to the police station, and that person is go before the magistrate for hearing. That would be
But
that would
bro,
be my one cent, two
bro
cent on that.
yeah, bro Joe,
Yeah.
we have the judicial system in a country. We have judges, we have the courts, but people don't go to court. You know why? They don't trust the system. They don't trust anything that is going on in the country. And that's what happens when citizens don't trust the system that is in place and and the people that represent or work in that system. That's what happens. The entire system breaks down. The people take the law into their hands. They do what they want to do. They do as they please to do. That is not a country. Okay, that is not a country. That is just too lawless. Our country is just too lawless. We have to do better. Okay, we were not able to touch on the police brutality, but that's what happened. That's what you see. That's why I would think that someone when you listen to when you watch the video, you listen to people from the in the background saying beat it because even the police themselves they need a lot of training.
Sure.
Okay, and they need more manpower. We have I think a thousand plus police
what we just
in
see in our
Liberia. We
video.
don't have a lot of, the police don't have enough manpower to cover every area in the country. There are districts that don't have any police officer. There are communities that don't have any police officers. So Edwin is right? But the places that we have police officers, they are not even doing a better job there. Okay, so
But
we
the
need
guys,
we
but
need
the
to
guys are
rethink this, man,
underpaid.
because it's bad.
Okay. Sam, you want to comment?
Yeah, I say we never have rule of law in our country. Anything is a pseudo rule of law, and the appearance of we never had it. It never been prioritized. We can have the courthouse or whatever. I never seen the law working in our country to say I had this case, and they went through the process, even like a 10%. I don't have any example of that. Like this person was this and they sued and went through this and in Liberia never. I left a case in Liberia before I came to this country in 2005. Somebody stole my big brother raw. How you call it? We catch them, got to put the raw outside and they're trying to sell it and we catch the police pulling them. That case left over there until we were bound on it. I was in the country for 2 years. Nobody doing nothing. So there's no rule of law has been in that country. So that's why when we see that we don't have patience over here, Mr. Wallow, the reason why we don't have patience is because of things like this. Because nobody, for you to run any country, you have to establish rule of law for economic interest and protection of anything your higher education, higher learning, all this. It goes from the ground up. That's what needs to be blanketed before you start any country. You got to establish a blanketed rule of law before your education system can be protected, your economic can be protected, your street, people homes,
Yeah,
their investment.
but you know
We
the
just
only
had
good
the
thing.
appearance of in our country. We never had it.
The only good thing about that
Yeah,
video. The only good thing about that
yeah.
video I like. He got arrested. Okay. Now he's on in the police custody right now. So that's a good thing. Um, I heard he was chilling at his girlfriend's place and he got arrested.
But guess what? Guess what, Brown? Guess
What?
what, Brown? No rule of law gonna be. I mean, either gonna get killed or they're gonna treat some kind of way in a police station. And you don't. In as much as bad as that video was, he still doesn't deserve to go get killed or treated anyhow behind the scene with our camera. But he's gonna
Sure.
get treated like that. So
Sure.
it's
We
animalistic.
agree. We
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
It's
We agree.
animalistic.
He should be sent to court.
Yeah.
He should be
Yeah, he
sent.
should go through the process. But
Yeah,
there's no process. They're gonna do
That is
what they
so
gotta
true.
do. Oh, you beat one of us, okay.
But
That's what
that's
they're
why
gonna do to him.
but that's why I
yeah.
was suggesting you bring the military in front, your physical your physical system, like you were saying,
Well,
Edwin.
Joe,
Every community needs
the
a
military
a
is
court
not
system.
for policing.
I
The
understand. I
military
understand
is
that.
not for
What I'm saying,
policing.
but what I'm saying is,
You
I
can
know.
use the
Look,
military for
Dr.
policing.
Water, I understand. I'm not saying policing use their as, but what I'm saying, they will set up some restrictions, some form of discipline with on the streets. Okay, so my saying here is, Edwin just said the same thing.
Train your police.
Let's say district 9. I'm just saying something. Well, district 14, district 15. I don't know. Anyway, so whatever district that every district you have a representation of a lawyer, a court, you know what I'm saying? Attorney is there. That if something happened, the police station is right there. They refer the case to the court, right? This guy go and get his citation, whatever he does, go to the court before the magistrate and this time. But most of the time, most of the things is done in the city. Okay, Santa Monica before it's done, before you get your citation to go all the way up there. No, let these things be all in all the little communities. Like how we have in Durham here, we got all the court system right here. We're not far from it. It's right here. We're not going to Raleigh. We're not going to Charlotte to go to court. No. You get your citation, your driving ticket, you go right to the court. The lawyer is there, get what you got to do, and move on. So if we want to practice kind of assistant, we got a long way to go. You know?
Yeah, because that's what the poor, that's what the system, that's why the poor here, the economy is strong because every little small building you see, there's one lady over there that can derail your whole life. One small lady, it doesn't matter her appearance, but the backing behind her, she can tell you, say, you break this law, we're gonna put the ticket on. It's gonna be enforced 100%. There's no fear of that in anybody's mind in Liberia. There's nothing.
Continue. I'm just going to get a break for 3 minutes, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what, like, Mr. Waller, the reason why I preach disruptive new leader in our country because we need a huge reset. We need thinkers. We don't need people that will just kind of continue what Ellen continue, what Joseph Baga continue, what CDC did that wasn't right or whatever. We don't need that. We need a complete overhaul. So we need somebody that will come. They did that in Angola. 20 people sat down in Angola and the people were brilliant mind and reset that country. Angola looked like have you ran into any Angolan in the country? Immigrant?
No.
That country is doing well. They have everything, just like us. We're surrounded by the ocean, we got water, we got fishery and everything. We got everything that we need economically in our country. We just don't have the mind.
Yeah.
Everything that we want is in
No,
Liberia right now.
I,
Everything is untouched. Your coconut is untouched. Your cassava is untouched. Your
I
corn
agree.
is untouched.
I agree with you.
So that we need to wipe out these old people, the new wine, old bottle, need to wipe out all of them. Not all of them. They got few good people, but they're suppressed because they don't have enough money to voice themselves. They got some few other people, but you find them because you need people to guide you with history and then what to take you and stuff to look at a different contract to undo or keep the contract or whatever. You need very few people like that. You can't cancel everybody. But most of the people that are been in the system, they're clocking the system. If you need younger people. You need a lot of young people.
Yeah.
You need history. You need experience, of course, but you can't just kick everybody out like that.
Yeah.
But you need people with a whole new mind to set that country back.
And Edwin,
We can reset things.
yeah,
Yeah,
you are right. About resetting the country. The mindset that brought us here cannot take us further from here. We need a different kind of mindset. We need a different breed of leaders, that will be able to do that, right? But let me tell you something, right? Our country, look, our people have not experienced life outside of what they have now. So when you tell them about, an alternative way of living, an alternative life, a vision that can take them where they are to, take them to a future of prosperity, they don't believe you. They don't believe you. You know why? Because they have never seen something like that before. There are people, there are Liberians, okay, that are vision minded, that have plans to take the country from where it is to, to a better place. But those are the people that we don't vote for, Edwin. We don't vote for those people. We don't elect those people. We vote for people that will bring t-shirt and that will bring rice, that will give us a little money. Those are the kind of people we vote for. So, the way our people vote in itself is challenging. Okay, so you are right. We need a complete reset. We need a different breed of leaders, that will take the country, from where it is to, into a better future. But we have something we call elections, and Liberians will now vote for those kind of people. So let me ask you this, Edwin. Who do you have in mind?
like politics right now, the only person in our country, because I'm such an economic person, if you listen to me all the time, all my things leads to economic. It's comics. The only person Because Liberia population is 5 million. You put Liberia on a spreadsheet right now. 165,000 jobs can be created in 6 months in Liberia right now if you put the right person in. 165,000 jobs. If you put Kumis in right now, 165,000 jobs will be created in 6 months. But we don't have anybody like that.
I think it can be more than that.
Yeah,
Like I'm just saying, in 6 months, Cummins can create 165,000 jobs. That's for a fact.
when
Because he has the numbers, he know how to move the keys. But right now, I don't see anybody except him. That's what I'm saying. It's
Jonathan,
going to be a disruptor. Now, Liberian people not being receptive to vision, it can be forced upon it. Like right now, if you just because campaigning and politics, it's psychology. You need certain wall that people are going to gravitate to, but you have your plan. If you just go towards three things like heavy reformation education, you just preach that message. I want everybody to go to school. Everybody should be fed. People will listen to that message. You can use that message as a point to wheel you into whatever you want to do, and you can do more than three things at the same time. But you need to be captivating. You need a message that will resonate with people, that will pull people over the edge. So it needs to be brought upon them. They're not going to change by themselves. They can't see the vision because they don't have the eyes that you have.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I think I differ from what you guys said, right? Because I think uh, there was a comment on Facebook. Somebody said Joseph Broca 2029, Joey 2029. My take on the next election, it should be new faces, not the same old people. We don't want. I personally think. I personally don't want Josh. We are neither Jose Yemen Broca. Okay, it would be the same old repeat of the same old people. I think we need new faces with Alexander Comey. I would personally think he losing relevance in Liberia among the Liberian people. Uh, the time he was given a platform, I think that was he he didn't certain he didn't do well. I think he could have, like how people was suggesting or speculating, he could have gone with uh, 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 um with a unity party. Okay, you now in the party. At then, but now he could be maybe vice president now, and then can lead his way up to the presidency. But I personally think his time and his relevance in Liberia, I think, is fading away. But I would suggest that uh, for the upcoming election, it should be new faces. Joshua, no.
I,
To say Yemen
let
Broka,
me tell you,
no. I just say personally.
Cummins, Cummins is a numbers guy, and he's not really a sales like Donald Trump is a salesman. So in Bombasi, you know how to sell stuff. But Cummins is a numbers guy through. You know what the number goes to. But the only missed opportunity that I see from Cummins is you don't have to be a politician and be elected to start helping your people.
Sure,
It's also
sure.
start some type of economic rotation in our country. Try to employ at least 2 to 3 thousand people just by yourself. Then you
Yeah,
show you have something to show people.
yeah, you can
Since you
do it.
don't have the zeal, you don't have the charisma, but you said this is what I've been doing. Use the social media to put and put
Yep,
using social media to install and all that stuff. Use the social media, Facebook, TV, all the put and come to your farm, see people doing how they eating, how they faring. But if you do this on a larger scale, I think you miss an opportunity on that. And quiet
I agree.
people, nobody can gravitate to quiet people over there. You and I over there for I mean like how many parties you go there right now for trail like nonsense? We don't let you get up people that just our Liberian culture. I was just on some kind of gathering on the 29th. People don't even see you, bro. You got also gonna ear ring your ear for a Tupac. Somebody just tie a Tupac head tie a little bit. So people can recognize you, bro. People don't let you sit up. I'm just telling you. No, something you have to play a little bit to
Say
get
the
to get
best.
to what they want sometime, and then you when you get there, then you read because we're not gonna organize something right now. Right now,
Yeah.
everything is not organized. I'm
So
telling you,
so
bro.
I
Just go
think
to the
bro Joe,
Yeah.
I think we should find a time for us to talk about the 2029
Yes.
race and
Yeah.
potential candidates.
Yeah.
But
We're gonna do
I
do
yeah,
this
I
again.
agree. I agree with Edwin. I agree with Edwin. Look, Alexander Cummings is one of the best we have in Liberia. And one of our major issues, I agree with Edwin, is our economy. Okay, we have to develop the economy outside of government, an economy that have a private sector that can provide private sector jobs, so that Liberians can go to work. The only structure institutions, the only structure that we have in the country that will
The
be able
government.
to help Liberians pull themselves out of poverty is the economy and education, right? If we have an economy where people can go to work, they are able to earn something for themselves, maybe some of the violence that we are seeing might decrease. People will be a little busy. People might take some responsibilities, right? And for the past two administrations, I don't see their focus on an economy that will be able to provide private sector jobs. When we talk about jobs, we are talking about government jobs. Those jobs then are always there. We made the government so big that the government become very ineffective, right? Throughout
Yep.
the gone campaigning, right? It was only Cummings that was talking about, developing the private sector, developing the private sector, developing the private sector. And that's what we need. Okay, that's what we need. So, I agree with Edwin. Uh, we just need to talk more about it, so that Liberians can be informed and aware about it, right? But the quick fixes is not going to take the country anywhere, right? Give me rest, I give you my vote. Give me $20, I give you my vote. And then the next 6 years, you wallowed in poverty. We have done that. It has not helped. Let us change that, right? Let's go for visionary leaders, people that will take us somewhere. Okay, people that will take us somewhere. So we should be able to do that.
Okay.
Any
Thank
economic
you.
minded person will prioritize law and order. Any
Yeah.
economic minded person.
Again,
Because they know that's the only way. That's the
again.
only way for the economy to work, for your system to work. As an
Yeah.
economics, you got to prioritize law and order.
But equally
Look,
so too, the
Edwin,
government the government
Edwin,
has a
I'm
responsibility to here though.
yeah,
For
I'm not
instances,
I'm not
at
cutting up,
least
Roger.
if we have
When
some incentives for businesses, especially Liberian businesses, if we give like incentives and some bonuses, people might go into the country and develop. But now,
look,
we shouldn't exclude security. Looking at what happened in Liberia right now, it's a race for any business to go and invest into Liberia. You gotta be honest. So if we can
but
fix our
that's
security
that that
system,
exact that
people will
exactly
be
Edwin's
fine.
point.
But if we cannot,
That
then we're
Roger,
done. Yeah.
that exactly Edwin's point.
Yep.
Look, if the president will not do anything else, just prioritize rule of law,
Yep. Yep.
law and order. That in itself going to develop the economy. Because like you pointed out, right? Nobody going to come in the country to invest their money if they don't trust that their money will be safe.
Sure.
But talking about security for the past few times, we've been talking about drug
Drugs.
abuse, addiction issue in the country. That is a national disaster. That is national security risks right there.
Yeah.
Those things that are happening because when young people are on substances, they can do anything.
Yeah.
Communities are not safe. Nobody is safe in the country. And when people see the kind of video you play today, that is circulating on social media. Other people in the world going to watch that. Who want to come to Labrador and to come and invest?
But
So
again, one
that
thing too,
statement that Edwin made, that
brother
statement
Willie.
that Edwin made, it is a profound statement. Look, if nothing else happens in Liberia, if we have the rule of law, if we follow the law of the country will do better. That's why the executive is about to enforce the law. Simple civics. To enforce the law. Enforce the law. Enforce the law.
All right.
That's it.
All right, gentlemen. I think we already exhausted our time. It's already 6 p.m. So I know we didn't go into depth into security and other issues. So hopefully next Sunday we'll ask security to be number one discussion before we move forward. So at this time, we just have closing statement. So basically, what we'll do, we'll take closing statement from Edwin and Dr. Wallow, and then we'll just close the show, and then we'll see you guys next Sunday. Um, Edwin, do you want to go first?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, since I started being a regular on this show, again, Brian, you know me, we've been brothers for a long time, over 20 plus years. I'm always an economic person. I'm always thinking in terms of numbers, what goes here, how many, how much you spend in this, that. So I've always been that person. Everything you hear about Liberia, it's always about natural resources, it's about rubber, plantation, this, that. But if you have a time, just look up Blue Lake, Liberia. It's a whole lake, naturally blue, just sitting over there. But when I see the blue lake in my head, I'm seeing a lot of skyscrapers surrounding it, a lot of hotels, a lot of activities around it. But that thing been empty and sitting over there forever. If you go to, there's a small town closer to Danane in Liberia. It's a little a Gil town. There is a road, there's a tracks road over there that you can run from that place all the way to Ghana, and you can run it back to Guinea to Sierra Leone. That's a railroad that you could run and create extensive transportation, means of transportation, cheaper and faster way to get between Ghana and these countries. So we only see this regular stuff. That's why people like me, that I'm always stressing economic because our economic is untouched. All most of our stuff is untouched. Our natural things, our sightseeing, they're all untouched. People are just touching a little bit small thing. Our electricity, like there was a Holland a guy that went over there. Somebody took him over there. He was trying to sign a $40 million contract during the Jawea government, but Jawea government turned it down. He went and tested most of the rivers over there, all 15 counties. He said there's so much electricity over here. I don't know why you guys are in the dark. So we have so much electricity in the country for the fact that we're surrounded by water. So if anybody wants to help that country, even if you can't do it, just start with at least prioritizing rule of law and reformation education. When people start seeing how calm the place is, and, you're walking overnight, things are not getting stolen, things are getting free. They got people with a lot of money all over the world and looking for places to invest. It's okay, these people they don't have language barrier, they can speak good English. I want to put my building over there because it's safe. But we've been talking about these things from 1980. There's a reason why Liberia is the first country to gain independence in that country. It's not by mistake. We are supposed to lead the way, even though Nigerians and all these countries they are better than us. But we are supposed to lead the way and set the example. But we are regressive because we have been electing the wrong people. And it's time for the youth to open up, to unclog the system. We're praying for the disruptor. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Thank you, Edwin. I appreciate your comment. Doctor, what do you want to go? Um,
Yeah, and I'm going to make mine short. Brojo, when we said we were talking about the rule of law today, I was just reading some things. On the global rule of law index, out of 140 countries, Liberia was ranked 112 out of
wow.
140 countries.
Mm.
What that indicates is that we are not doing any better with the rule of law. And these are the kind of statistics that investors look at, to make decision, whether they should put their money in a particular economy. I don't know whether we are doing better with that under the Bwaka administration compared to, the George Weah administration. But look, when you go to Liberia and you get in the street, right, you can feel and see the chaos. Nothing, nothing good happen in a mix of chaos. You cannot develop a country in the mix of chaos. You cannot build in a mix of chaos. Nothing happens in a mix of chaos. So what is happening in our country should concern everybody. Again, if the president does not do anything, just prioritizing the rule of law in itself will achieve a lot of things. When President we took over, uh, I recorded a video and I spoke highly about just one thing that he needed to do in the country: prioritize the rule of law. Look, it is the law that will hold people accountable. The law does not see, the law is blind. The law is not partial. Okay, it is the law that will, that will help us to build our economy. Okay, so we have to do that. What we saw in this video speaks to the broader context of what we are going through in the country. People are not safe in their very communities. Liberians cannot even be out in the street. By the time the night falls, everybody, out of the street because the country is not safe. We have to do better. We are in the 21st century. Okay, if we cannot, solve this problem that is going on with, how we enforce laws, how we develop and pass legislation, if we cannot solve and think about this thing critically, we are taking our country backward. Our people deserve better than that. And we Liberians, we should do better than that. We ask our government to give us the best. President Baka promised a leadership that will be not like any other since the establishment of that country. We haven't seen that. We hope we can see that in the soonest possible time. So that would be my closing. And I think we can do better than what we are doing right now as a country.
Thank you, Dr. Water. I just want to say thank you to my brother and friend Edwin Saipoa and to Dr. Ajibobi Water. Thanks to our listener and viewers. We just want to say we appreciate your time you are taking to listen to Action Require Media. Like here, we said again, we educate, entertain, and empower. We bring you live information concerning Mama Liberia. It is an appeal to the Liberians and also the government of Liberia that we should enforce our rule of law. And our nation, a nation without a rule of law, is a messed up nation. And we just want to say thank you. You have a wonderful and blessed Sunday. See you next week.